For me, I think you go for Dar in this one. I'm going for Dar for this one. Dave Mastiff, good. I go him for the win here, maybe because I don't like Joe Coffey, but I see Mastiff being pushed up the card. I think Mastiff would be quite a nice one to go up against Walter and Imperium. While they're building it up, you'll get guys like Andrews and Webster pushed together. I think these guys will be holding these titles for a while longer to give them some prestige. Also, there's no one close to them except British Strong Style. Of course, I mentioned British Strong Style. Grizzled Young Veterans for the win for me. She's not on Toni Storm's level. The way I think they'll work this here is she'll have a really nice long title reign until her natural successor shows up. They might even give Toni Storm a run here for a year. You've got to wait for that, and I don't think there's anyone else out there is quite ready to take the title from her. Toni Storm for a win here. Kayla Ray's not in her ballpark.
Welcome to the Life Turkey podcast.
Life Junkies podcast, episode 20, NXT UK Takeover Cardiff review and WWE King of the Ring. So it's just me again. It's probably another quick one. There's not a massive amount to talk to. I actually sat down and I looked at doing AEW, a little chat about that. I couldn't have done a match by match review because I didn't watch it, but I was trying to see if there's any talking points I could get about AEW. There's not really much. Apart from Chris Jericho having the AEW World Title belt stolen a few days after winning it, which is you'd expect more from a veteran like Chris Jericho, but I don't know the intricacies of when you get these belts and how you look after them and some of he's probably done exactly what he's done 100 times with other belts he's won in other companies, and it's just this time it's not, if something's gone wrong. Anyway, I have proven that I am rubbish at predictions with my predictions. If I've done the editing properly, how I want to, before this you would have heard a load of my calls, which turned out to be wrong. So, yeah, I'll talk about that when we talk about Takeover Cardiff. Before I get into the main body of the show, I want to talk about the crazy scheduling they've done here. So, this was Takeover Cardiff, which was on last Saturday, which was... What time was it here? It was 7 o'clock-ish. Yeah, so it started at 6:30 or half-hour pre-show and then 7 till whenever it finished. But the issue is it overlapped with New Japan Pro Wrestling Royal Quest, which was a show they were holding over here, I think in London. Not entirely too sure. So overlap with that a bit. So you've got people that are going to be watching that on the streams that probably would be watching NXT UK. You've got people that would have gone to New Japan Royal Quest. I know people that when the tickets for Takeover Cardiff came out, they're like, well, I want to go, but I've already got tickets to Royal Quest, so I don't know. So you're losing all these people from watching it, and then you've got all out AEW all out later on in the night. It's just all a bit bunched together and all a bit. You'd think they could have found somewhere else to put it, and I know that when they released the date, New Japan and AEW hadn't released their dates, but it's one of those things where it's sort of, in the business, if you're there, when other people are having their shows, people talk, because no one wants to get into this situation where you're literally competing for fans like that on a pay-per-view. Like, doing it for weekly shows is right, and it gets momentum and it gets news, and everyone's keen to do another Monday Night Wars. But for pay-per-views, you don't want that overlap. You don't want anything like that, because that's meant to be your big show, and that's where you've got people that might be paying for it, or people that are buying your network or whatever. So you don't want that extra competition, because that is literally taking money out of your pocket. So yeah, it's just very odd schedule anyway. So I'm going to take a quick break because this is the intro, and I will come back and talk about how rubbish I am at predicting matches.
This is a Life Turkey podcast.
So NXT Takeover Cardiff. Now this is the first NXT UK takeover I've watched. I didn't watch Blackpool. I'm gonna go back and watch Blackpool after this because I enjoyed this one so much. For me, this was far better than Toronto was. Toronto was a disappointing takeover. You get that. Like, not every show that anyone does is ever going to be hit. You just can't do it. And NXT itself has had such a long procession of hits that, it missed take Toronto. And it wasn't that Toronto was bad. It's just Toronto wasn't as good as the rest of the NXT takeover. So then you get this show, which by rights shouldn't be as good as a regular NXT takeover, because these are guys that haven't quite yet got the call up there. But it was brilliant, and I know you had some help. You had Cesaro coming down in a match and all this, but no, it was a really good show, and there's a few matches that really surprised me. So let's go into it. We start with Travis Banks versus Noam Dar. I called it for Noam Dar. I was wrong, which is going to be a theme of this podcast. What you realise straight away is both guys were really, really over the crowd. Far more than the match actually deserved. The match was decent. It was a decent starter match. It's one of those, you don't want anything too crazy, but you want something that's fairly boom boom by the numbers, but good. So the crowd get up, but you're not making anything that comes after it look too bad. So that was it. The crowd were all over it. They loved both guys. You had chants for both Noam Dar and Travis Banks. Of course, both guys have been around the UK scene a lot. Travis Banks in the win probably makes sense. I did say, trying to defend myself a little bit here, my bad record. I did say that Travis Banks Travis Banks would get a win in the feud overall, and I also then mentioned that maybe it's too late. It would be too long till the next takeover, which will probably be in about 6 months' time, probably start of next year. That it wouldn't make sense to have. Yeah, but you wouldn't be able to prolong the feud to then, because it's not a feud like that. If it's a title feud, then yeah, okay, you could probably sneak it through, but it's just an opening card for you, so it's not going to make it that far. So I guess that's a one and done probably. Travis Banks gets the win, moves on, and he'll start moving his way up the card towards Walter, because there'll be a gap there. Next we had a surprise match, was Ilya Dragunov versus Cesaro. Now we knew that Cesaro was going to come down. We probably knew he was going to have a match, and this was really good. So it's first of all, you get him being interviewed, and Dragunov comes past and sort of hisses at him and walks out to the ring, which I felt was an odd way to introduce Cesaro's opponent. You could have had that, because what you're looking for really for these things, you want that reveal pop. Okay, maybe Dragunov isn't the biggest one, but it's interesting anyway. So what I would have done is have Cesaro come out, go, "Oh, I'm here. I want some competition. Go and show me how good you guys really are." And then Dragunov comes out and you have a match. Now, Dragunov is someone that I haven't really warmed to yet. I said this a lot on the preview podcast. I hadn't warmed to Gallas and Joe Coffey, and Dragunov is another one. But he's working his way up. I think he lost to Cassius Ohno a few weeks ago, so I don't know what the real plan with pushing him is. As Ohno has always been the guy that you get the win over when you're being pushed, and when you're not being pushed, you lose to keep him at a decent level. So I don't know whether this is, but I really like this match. Now it dragged a bit in the first half. You could there's a point. It's like the Simpsons gag of you can pinpoint the part where Ralph's heart breaks. You can pinpoint the match where this match woke up. So it was a bit. I thought it was a bit boring, a bit dragging, until Cesaro did his 40-second Cesaro swing. And after that, it that was a point. Like they've been told to hold it back until after that, and then it suddenly kicked up, and it was really good. And it felt a little bit before then like it was a Cesaro greatest hits. Like he was going to come out, Dragunov would get a little bit of offense, but that was it. Cesaro go do, and done. I've done this move I always do, and now I'm going to do my finisher and get the win. But that's after it came. Dragunov then got a bit of a boost, and he started getting a lot more offensive. And what you got here was a textbook lesson on how to get a young talent over in a loss. Dragunov lost, but he came out looking far better than he did when he came in. He'd gone up against a main event, but a main roster wrestler, a very good main roster wrestler, someone that's held titles, and he took him to the limit and he did well. And so that was really great. And at the end of it, the crowd were really pro him. They were really receptive to Cesaro, on their feet clapping. It was brilliant. This shows just how good Cesaro can be. This is a dude that's coming up, hasn't really shown that he's brilliant in the ring, and Cesaro's got a great match out of him. This is what you're missing on the main roster when they're not using him properly and not pushing him forwards, and it's a real shame that we're missing out on this. And there's different ways to categorise success. It's like if you look at Premier League footballers, you're not a failure if you don't make it to Chelsea or Liverpool or Manchester United, if you don't win the Champions League or the World Cup or whatever. That doesn't mean you're a failure. There's so many tiers, and you can argue it just by being a professional footballer, you're a success. But even someone that plays in, say, the Championship, they're making enough money to earn a good life. That is a success. I have friends that were very close to becoming professional footballers, didn't quite make it, whether that's through attitude or just lack of skill. And so the margins can be very fine, and that moves over to wrestling in a way that just because Cesaro isn't their Honda World title doesn't mean he's a failure. Cesaro has held the Intercontinental title, he's held the WWE United States title, he's held tag team titles. I think he's held both the SmackDown and the Raw tag team titles, and that's just in WWE. So he's done other stuff. He's had a decent indie career. He's definitely not a failure by any means of sort. He's a success story. Personally, I think they should be pushing it to main event. I think they should be giving him a chance for a world title, but that's all personal opinion, and someone else might not have the same opinion. Someone else might not quite be as high on him. It's obvious that he's lacking something that they really value. But what you've got here, and what maybe he's got a taste for now, would be he can go to a random wrestler, a random opponent with a crowd that don't get to see wrestlers like him, and get a brilliant reaction like that. When he used to go into a Raw crowd who are dead, or a SmackDown crowd who are dead because they feel a bit entitled, they're not really enjoying the show anyway. So yeah, I don't know. But it was a really good match, and this was the second match on the card, and this was looking at where you're going after this. So you've got the NXTUK Tag Team titles with Andrews and Webster versus Gallus versus Grizzled Young Veterans. I'm always very down on triple threat tag team matches. I tend to find that the rules of a match it messes up with the flow, so you can't. It tends to come off very awkward, and you end up having a team with both of them stood in one corner. The whole thing just doesn't make any sense to me. This, however, is one of those matches that would change your mind on it. It was a really, really good match. Really well built. The guys in it did the job really well. Even Gallus came off as being quite good. Then you got the near falls they did. So it was like 3 near falls for the hometown guys, and it's like 1, 2, they're not going to elevate. No, they're not. Fast time. 2, they're not. No, okay. And then the third, we thought, they're going to do this, aren't they? And they don't. And then fairly quickly after that third fall, Grizzly Young Vets, they did the finisher and got down. This what I said. In your mind, you're thinking, well, that's over. I was sat there going, well, that's a bit. Still feels like there's more to this match, but okay, if that's done, that's done. And he kicks out. You're like, okay, so what is the plan here? And then finally, you get the young lads coming in and getting the win. I watched this on Saturday. It's now Wednesday. I should have rewatched it last night, I'm an idiot, but there you go. But they get the hometown win, which I didn't think WWE don't like to do, and I know that seems to be a Vince thing, and Vince doesn't have any input in NXT, let alone NXT UK. But I did not think they were going to get the win at all. I think a large portion of the crowd didn't think they were going to get the win, but they did, and the crowd went absolutely mental for them. Of course, it's the hometown lads, so of course they're going to get the massive pop. But it was a really nice feel-good moment. It'd be interesting to see whether they go on it, how long these two have the titles, because I don't think they're a proper tag team. The entrance looked really awkward, I felt. It just didn't look like they gelled completely, so I wouldn't be too surprised if they had a fairly quick reign. But yeah, this is another case of me getting it wrong. That's 2 out of 2 that I've got wrong so far in this card, which makes me rubbish. I think what you'll see is Grizzled Young Vets winning the titles back fairly soon. But there we go. We go on to the last man standing match with Dave Mastiff and the third member of Gallus, Joe Coffey. Very, very early on, the ring broke. You saw Coffey whipped into it. It was Coffey, wasn't it? Yeah, whipped into it. He hits the top, and the top just comes straight off the thing. This looked like a work to me. Mainly because there's no real improvisation with the broken ring or the ring ropes at all. I know Mastiff tried to hit Coffey a little bit, but that was it. After that, they're out and they're going around the arena. You got the weird sort of jump off the middle rope from Coffey, where he went to hit it, didn't have anything to hold on to, and just sort of flopped down. That's not something you would build into a match because it just looked really bad. It looked completely like a botch. You wouldn't build that into a match. So that to me says wasn't really it was more of a work. I like what you get here is you get some UK props used in this hardcore match. So I liked, for example, the cricket bat being used by Mastiff to hit off, which was really good. In general, this was quite a hard hitting brutal match, which we knew it would be. And then you get the finish where Mastiff's trying to get up, and Coffee hits I think it's a chair he's trying to use to push himself up out of his hands, and he goes like that, and you get the count to 10. I like this. Now, normally the point of a last man standing match is you're rendering your opponent unable to stand. Fine, I get that. It's meant to be brutal. It's meant to be like a dominant victory. But what you've got here is Mastiff is a monster of NXT UK. I think that's how they're going to push him. He's going to be a bloke that no one can beat. So what you really want to, what you don't want to do is give Coffee that sort of win over him. But what you're now doing is you're pushing Coffee as maybe someone that is using his brains when he's brawn when he needs to. So he cheated is the wrong word, which is smarter for Mastiff to get the win. He was thinking outside the box. So I quite liked it. People didn't. Of course, I went for Mastiff to win. So again, third time out of 3 if I am wrong. Some days you feel like you should give up, don't you? So the NXT UK Women's title, Kaylee Ray versus Toni Storm. This is a fairly basic match. It could have been a lot more than it was, couldn't it? It felt to me like something had gone long. Maybe it was the Mastiff match. WWE cut time for this match to allow the main event the time it needed to breathe. Now, in a era where we're talking about pushing men's and women's wrestling is the same, and of course it isn't yet, but that's where we're supposed to be moving towards. You cut the women's match down to something this small. I think it's something like 8 minutes or so. And then you've allowed the men's match roughly 40 minutes to work with. I think that's what they said on the commentary. You're not giving the same, and granted, Tyler Bate versus Walter is a far bigger match than Kaylee Ray versus Toni Storm, but it's always going to stay that way if you're not giving the women the time they need. So that was a bit disappointing from that side of it. Kaylee Ray nearly very much killed herself, and you could actually hear the concern on the commentary table from Nigel McGuinness, where it looked like she had landed right on her head with a flip that Toni Storm didn't quite catch her properly with, but she was alright. She was up fairly quickly, and it was all good. And so Kaylee Ray goes on and gets the win, and I was wrong again. That's 4 out of 4. I don't know what plan is. Maybe I've heard other UK wrestling fans who are a bit higher on Kaylee Ray than I was in the preview podcast, so maybe she's now going to go on and show us something that I didn't know. Toni Storm is going to move up eventually to main NXT to fight Shayna Baszler. I said in the NXT Toronto review that I didn't feel like they had a real strong challenge to Shayna Baszler. Toni Storm could easily be that strong challenge. Toni Storm could be the one that takes the title off Shayna Baszler and holds it in the main NXT. So maybe that's what they're going to do. That makes sense to me. And you Kaylee Ray and the rest of the women in NXT UK to work together and to improve, and then finally move up. I don't know. Maybe it'll be a very short reign, and if Toni Storm in a few weeks we'll have it back. I don't know. And finally, we have the NXT UK title match. Tyler Bate versus Walter. This match was absolutely stunning. I loved every second of it. I really did. It made me feel all of the emotion. It was just... People have been talking about it as maybe one of the best British wrestling matches in history. I would say that it would challenge for one of the best matches I've ever. It was brilliant, and again, maybe I'm biased because I'm a big fan of Tyler Bate. I'm a big fan of Walter. I felt it was phenomenal. I say if you are going to watch any match, if you want to go, okay, is NXT UK for me? Go and just watch this match. Take 40 minutes out of your day, get on the network, find it, skip to this match, just watch it. It is sublime, it's perfect. Not only with the moves executed perfectly, but it was the psychology of the match. It was exciting. It made you feel everything. It was brilliant. And this is definitely a match I'm going to go back and watch again. In fact, that's probably my plan for to rewatch this whole and enjoy it. It was brilliant. Go watch it. It was so good that I struggled to find the words to describe it, which is bad for someone who podcasts, because I should have words to describe it. I have to talk about it. I can't just watch it. Okay, that is the end of my review of NXT Takeover Cardiff. I felt it was a really good show. The end of the men's title match with British Strong Style, both Pete Dunne and what's his face coming down to a ring, helping Tyler Bate up, and the crowd chanting for them. That very much felt like a goodbye to British still. But what you've got is you're seeing that TK is in safe hands of Walter going forward, and he'll be the champion for a long while yet. Mike said after claiming 2 other champions will be the champions for a long time yet, and being brilliant with both of them. Bate needs a big push at NXT. Whether you're going to take him in as a tag team first, it doesn't matter. Get him in there, give him a big push, because he is, both him and Pete Dunne, money, and the sooner they get on the main roster, personally, the better. Then Vince won't get either of them. So if it's that depressing moment of you've got all this great wrestling underneath the main card, and you know as soon as these guys go to the main card, they're just going to get nothing. On that thought, I'm going to take a little break and we're going to come back and talk about King of the Ring semi-finals.
You're listening to Life Junkies podcast.
So, this is another one where my predictions have gone wrong now. I think my predictions for Raw were pretty much spot on. I had Samoa Joe and Baron Corbin both winning. I hate to say it, but I think that we see Corbin getting the win here and going through to finals. It's going to be top trolling by WWE. They're going to make you really believe that Corbin is going to win it, and then they will, at the last minute, his opponent will get the victory. That's what I feel Joe should get the win here. Joe's your only legitimate main eventer out of two of them. Corbin's place is that entry to the main. Very much sort of be a Ziggler, but he is the man the mid-carders beat to progress to the main event. He is the guardian of it. He is not main event material. He is not world champion material. He shouldn't have that. He shouldn't have that position. So he is the guy that you beat to move forward. I don't think Corbin's awful by any means. But I don't think a lot of the others on the card. On the other side, I got both of these ones wrong on SmackDown. So I had Ali beating Elias, and I had Andrade beating Chad Gable. I had Andrade winning the whole thing. So of the three wrestlers that I said should be the challengers win it, only one of them is still in the tournament on the next round, which shows how good my predictions are. I can't. They have to have Gable win this, surely. You can't have Elias versus Corbin in the final. They wouldn't be silly enough to do that, would they? Chad Gable is great young talent. As was Ali, to be fair. And this is the thing about Ali losing against Elias. You're supposed to be pushing him as a great young talent. Elias, they've never treated Elias as if he's going to be anything anyway. He's never shown anyone much. He's another one that probably in the ring needed a little bit more seasoning in NXT, or have a gimmick worked. Obviously, Vince likes the gimmick, and it's a classic Vince WWE gimmick where he comes out, sings a song, annoys a crowd, blah blah blah. But Ali was something. They were pushing him as something, and now suddenly he's losing to Elias. It doesn't make any sense for me. And why do they hate Andrade so? Him and Zelina Vega are a brilliant pair, and yet they leave these two flopping on the main event card. Every now and then they tease they're going to do something. You go, oh, they're in the United States title match. They're going to win it. Oh, they've got a match against Rey Mysterio. Oh, they're in the quarterfinals of King of the Ring, and then they take it all away because there's. Why wouldn't you push this man? Him, and again, not using. I talked about this before. They're not using Zelina Vega properly. She is the mouthpiece. She is the manager. Whereas now she's no more than a valet, which is a complete waste of her skills. But also you're completely wasting Andrade's skills by not letting him show what he can do. So hopefully we're going to see Chad Gable get the win here, and he'll go on and win the whole thing, and that'll be his spark to go forward. I have a really depressing feeling that we're going to end up with Corbin versus Elias, and Corbin's going to get the win, or Elias is going to something else equally as depressing. I don't know. Is there a thing going on where we dislike these guys because WWE decided to push them, or is there something going on with WWE decided not to push them because we like them, or something else? I don't know. I don't get the decisions made on them. Now, this was the point where I was going to sit down and talk about AEW, but I don't really have anything to say about AEW, so I'm not. Probably just. So I am less than half an hour into recording this, and I've got nothing more to say. Next week I'll be coming, hopefully joined by Chris, and I'll be doing a Clash Champions preview show. It'll probably be longer than this because there'll be more to say, more matches to talk about. So tune in for that. I need to do the outro links now. So social media, you can find me on Twitter and Instagram, Brazier25. You can find the Life Junkies on Twitter, _Life Junkies. You can also find the Life Junkies on Facebook, Life Junkies25. Join us on the lifejunkies25.wordpress.com. That is where you will find all the articles, the videos, any podcasts. Everything will go up there. Will go up on the relevant site as well, like YouTube and your local podcast provider. But that's where you'll find everything on there. You'll also find back episodes of a podcast on YouTube. You might get one or two, depending on the length of them, on podcast providers, but we don't pay for the SoundCloud hosting. That makes no sense to us with the amount of listeners we get. So YouTube's the place to go if it's your first time hearing this podcast. Go on YouTube. If you're on YouTube, then there'll be a video somewhere, and go check out YouTube. I've just 2 weeks ago I released a video talking about a foot manager tactic, a 3-5-2, sort of analysis of the play of that and what went wrong with it. Go watch that. It's part of an article that I've released earlier this week, a few days ago now. It's actually on the day of recording, but when this comes out on Friday, it'll be a few days ago. That is talking about that tactic and our campaign towards the England campaign for 2026 World Cup and how that worked out for us and the actual limitations of the tactic and what we're trying to do. So go check that out. There'll be a link somewhere. And thanks for listening. If you're on YouTube, like, share, subscribe, comment, tell me what you thought of the matches. If I was wrong on any of my opinions, let me know. See you later, guys.